Hi, welcome to part two of my story, my spiritual awakening. My name's Paul. Just for those of you that didn't watch the last video, I suggest that you do because I don't think any of this will make sense. Also, if you plan on just scrolling through, there's no point in watching this video whatsoever. You're going to get nothing from it at all unless you listen to it all. Just a quick rundown. So last time I spoke about me being in prison, 2012, I ended up in prison in HMP Featherstone. I started reading books and had what was called a spiritual awakening. Now, this book, namely, the main book that I was reading and that made a big impact to start with was called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And basically I was asking for things using the techniques in this book and they were coming. You know, the most obscure things I was asking for and they were coming. I wasn't the only one that this was happening to. My friend James and a few others in our circle of friends were using the book and we were using it to do a lot of positive things. So basically that's in a nutshell, the first story, but I suggest you listen to it anyway if you haven't, just to get you up to speed really and make more sense of this story. So here we go, this is part two, and this is basically the effect that it had on others on the wing and our surroundings. So I started going out with this book. It had changed my life already and my way of thinking. From the 2 years from when I first read the book until the day I got out, I basically sculpted my entire personality, life, and my future using this book and many other books as well. And I'm going to tell you about some of these books in this clip as well. But first of all, I just want to tell you that, while I was in there, this book, we were getting it out there and it was working for everybody that I spoke to, including prison officers, course facilitators, probation officers, everyone that I spoke to, I either put them on the path for this book or they'd already read it and it was already working for them as well. And I was amazed by them to see how it was working out in the real world, and it was having amazing effects for them as well. So it was lovely to hear, and they were intrigued by me because I'd never heard of a prisoner being so positive and with a good outlook on this book and going to use it to sculpt his life. So yeah, I was kind of a bit of a talk of the jail. I think there was a few meetings held about us because I think they were a bit scared of the unknown, to be fair, or they just thought I was mad, one or the other. Either way, I don't mind. But yeah, so I was going around with this book, but I started to be a bit disappointed because everybody was asking for things for themselves, and it was like they would never contemplate asking for anything for anybody. So I kind of tried to change their view on that as well because, I'd been reading this book for quite a while and I was thinking real far ahead. I was thinking, wow, if we get everybody on this book and, every single person on this planet reads this book and we all want world peace, it's going to happen. And that is, people might have just scoffed then, but I'm serious. If you're all on the same page, the same thing is going to happen. If you want the same thing as everybody around you, it is multiplied. The attraction is multiplied. It's like having a small magnet yourself or a big magnet. Okay, the community. You're only going to pull in paper clips with this small magnet, but Jesus Christ, you can pull in some real stuff with the big magnet. Okay, and that is the effect that it has. This law of attraction, it's a law of the universe. It's a fact. Okay, now the more people that are on it, the more powerful that it's going to work. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about some of the goings on that were happening to me now. Obviously, you already know about me asking for things, etc. On my vision board, in the last clip, I spoke about a vision board. These things that I wrote upon the wall that, I use these inspirational words to almost sculpt myself as a person. One of these things was answers. Now, I used to have some very, very weird times down the library because, I even got the librarians on it. There was a lady called Claire. She was a lovely woman, she was. And she was like, oh, Paul, have we got any coincidences today? And I'm like, no, not really. And I'd turn around and I'd knock a book over and it'd be 100 things they don't want you to know. And I'm like, and she'd be like, it was amazing. The library was the most amazing place for the secret. Look, I've even got hair standing up on I'd have books that were like half hanging out of a shelf. Yeah, I'd pull them out and I'd flick and stop. I remember this one time, that story. So I'd read a book called The Celestine Prophecy, and I wanted another one, the 10th Insight. And anyway, I've gone down the library, and this book's hanging out of the bookcase, and I've been thinking about the 10th Insight 2 days before. Anyway, I'm like, which one do we want? I've gone down, and there it is, the 10th Insight. I couldn't believe it. It was literally hanging out. But what made it even more weird was that I flicked and stopped, and what I flicked and stopped on was, it was written in red pen. I remember it clear as day, and it was a bracket onto a paragraph of the book, and the book said, "I remember what I'm here for now. I've come to carry out a mission." And it said some stuff, and I've looked, and it was written down the thing. Look at that, and you know what it said? Tav. And I don't know who to this day wrote it, but it was just amazing. I'd flicked and stopped and landed right on it. Now that is no coincidence, okay? And it happened all the time. You know, all of these books would lead me on to other books that would lead me on to other books, but half of them would be hanging out the shelf. Or like I said with Claire, I'd knock it over. It was getting ridiculous. You know, all these weird coincidences. I thought, at first, before everybody else started to see it, you know, and confirm that it was happening, I actually thought I was crazy. I thought I was mad. But yeah, it didn't just stop in the library either. These coincidences, they're called synchronicities, were happening all over the shop. And you know when you're on the right path, when you're on a spiritual awakening path, you'll know you are, because your energy will rise, and not necessarily feel it. You'll feel more positive, but you know what? It's everything around you that changes. All of these synchronicities start happening, coincidences. Like you'll see them here, you'll read a book, and then you'll see it there, and it was just happening every single day. But it was amazing. Every single day for me was a new. I was excited to wake up. Anyway, that's about my library coincidences, and that went. Wow, did you see that? Did you guys see that? Oh my God. See what I mean? Okay, now I don't even want to mention a word of that. Am I tripping or what? Or did you see that as well? Right. Okay. Now I've got some notes below me here, because I found this one quite difficult, because I didn't really know how to structure it, because some of it happened quite sporadically like this. So I'm trying to put it in as much order as I can, because remember, this happened nearly 4 years ago now. So basically, the next book that I'm going to tell you about that the secret led me to is the Celestine Prophecy. Okay, now this is a book. It's based on a true story, and basically it's a story in Peru about this manuscript that's been found. Okay. This is a true story, okay? A manuscript that's been found in Peru in the 90s. Basically, loads of these archaeologists are all over it. But basically, it was a manuscript speaking of human evolution. And they said that we were going to evolve in this exact era that we were in. And that 2012 was nothing but a clock counting down to this evolution. It was not the end of the world. It was the beginning of a new one, a new era. Okay, but to evolve, we had to go through these steps. Okay, we had to understand these things about ourselves and our history, and these steps were called insights. Okay, and there's 10 of them, but in the first one, I think there's 8 or 9. Now, I'll tell you, including The Secret, Celestine Prophecy is one of the books that I recommend, but there's also a film as well. It's on YouTube, you can watch it, and it's so good. It will tell you about energy, and that thing that just floated across for you that you just saw that. You will understand how that energy works. Okay. I think it's about 1 hour and 40 long, but the book is the most amazing thing. But what happened was, oh my God, did you see that again? Okay, so what was happening was, when I was reading the book, I understood that I'd already gone through some of these steps. Okay, now synchronicity was one of them. Changing the way we treat each other was another one. Okay. There are many at the moment. I don't really want to list them. I just want to give you I just want to give you the key books that changed it for me. Okay. And it's going to change the world as well, not just for me. As a collective, if we know all of this information together, something very, very special is going to happen. Let me tell you that. We're going to evolve. We're going to evolve. And for those of you that don't get it, you need to catch up. If you hear anybody talking about Illuminati, anything that I'm talking about, research it, listen to them. I'm telling you, because it is key information. What's going on at the moment, I don't know if you can see it, but this whole war situation, it's here because it's almost time for us to, as crazy as it sounds, we're not going to evolve like, I'm growing into this like big monster. It's not like that. It's an evolution of the heart and the mind together. We're gonna live from our hearts. We're gonna love each other more, and we're gonna come together as community and help each other and support each other. But trust me, the government have got different plans, and the Celestine prophecy will tell you exactly what happened in Peru. The church, the government, the military, all over it, imprisoned and killed loads of people that had any of the information of these insights. Read it, I'm telling you, or watch the film. It's absolutely amazing. That's it for this video, I think. I don't want to go too much into detail and blow your minds and give you loads of information for you to digest. I'd rather me tell my little bit of the story and kind of put you on a path. And I hope it is doing that as well. I mean, the amount of messages that I've had about the last video, thank you so much. I'm so pleased that I've touched your lives in that way and inspired you to, to research more or to do good things or to be more positive. And if you ever need any advice or you want someone to listen to you or anything like that, you just hit me up, all right? But for now, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm John Connor, and this is my video.